friends, my name is Aireonna, and oh my gosh, I guess a win is a win. We're going to get into it, the good, bad, the ugly, but the 49ers just walked away with their fourth straight win in Seattle. 49ers 17, Seahawks 13, and boy was today a doozy. There was many times I got to admit that I did not believe. Also, I'm filming this from my hotel, but I am live in Seattle. I was doing this outside Lumen Field, and there was a drunk group of middle-aged men who were being very scary to me when I opened and I started talking about the 49ers. So I've done these live videos from Seattle before. Usually I do them outside Lumen, but please give me a like and subscribe because I had to rush back to my hotel, but I got lots of notes for you here. Anyways, sealing the game off was Jake Tonjes out of all people. Brock Purdy to Tonjes, but it was kind of Brock Purdy to the Seahawks defender, and then Tonjes. I couldn't exactly tell if the guy hit it into Tonjes or Tonjes just went in and intercepted it from the Seahawks player that Brock Purdy actually threw it to. But you know, they won. And then actually right after that, the Seahawks got the ball back. Sam Darnold was walking down the field. The defense put on a master class today with Robert Saleh. The 49ers can never let that guy go again. But if there was one part of the defense that you were hoping would show up at the very end, it was Nick Bosa, one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL. And boy, oh boy, is that what you pay him for. He sealed off the game. So just an incredible, unlikely win at the very end. I'm really glad that Nick Bosa did seal it off because the defense was so good today, and I could just tell that if the 49ers blew it at the end, that people were going to say, oh, the defense ended up giving up some points, even though they were, had ice in their veins the whole entire game. Sam Darnold couldn't do anything. But also the 49ers couldn't do anything. They had 5 trips to the red zone that totaled in no points. They also had 2 trips to the red zone that should have been 3 points each, but Jake Moody missed. So just, an ugly win, but week one is always finicky. If I'm being optimistic, that's my takeaway, is like week one is finicky. The team is only going to get better. If I'm being more, realistic, both of these teams, the 49ers and the Seahawks, look like teams that are not playoff contenders. Maybe one of them will end up getting to the playoffs. This week one divisional game is probably going to come in handy for the 49ers. The next time they see the Seahawks is at Levi's week 18, and this win could be the deciding factor on, the 49ers getting to the playoffs or not. I think the Cardinals won today, and so did the Rams, and then obviously the Seahawks lost. So great to get the win, but neither of these offenses looked high-powered, is putting it nicely. A lot of what we saw this year looked so similar to last year. It was injuries on top of injuries, the offense getting to the red zone, not being able to score, Brock Purdy trying to play hero ball, throwing the ball to the other team. A lot of his balls were like floating. One of his interceptions, like even the announcer, Greg Olsen, was just like, it took 12 years. Like it got up in the air and then it just fluttered and glided into the Seahawks defender's hand. So a lot of that, you're like watching the game and you're like, shit. And that's, I think, why a lot of people thought the 49ers were going to blow it at the end, is because it's like we've seen this game before. The defense holds up, and by the time they get to the fourth quarter, they're exhausted, and defense got multiple turnovers. They kept giving the offense the ball, and the offense wasn't scoring with it, and you're like, oh, they're going to crumble at the very end. But the difference between this year and last year is they didn't. They did not crumble at the end. They scored points in the fourth quarter. The offense did, and the defense kept shutting the Seahawks down. Last year, in the fourth quarter specifically, the 49ers were outscored by 77 points. Outscored by 77 points. Today, the 49ers scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, and the Seahawks only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter, but it was actually in the entire second half. The Seahawks only got 3 points. So can't blame the 49ers defense for anything. Like I said, Nick Bosa came up huge, but I mean, he kind of came up huge at the end. The real starter of the show on defense, in my opinion, was Marquise Siegel. It was announced right before the game that he was going to be the starting safety above Jair Brown. We weren't sure. Kyle Shanahan tried to play it coy and said Jair Brown it was going to be between Marquise Siegel and Jair Brown. That's what he said on Thursday before the game. Ended up being Siegel starting, and everything that we saw about Siegel in preseason showed up in today's game. He was fantastic. Renardo Green, immaculate interception. He turned the ball. He was everywhere flying. We saw a little bit of Demo flash, but really I felt like the two stars on defense, aside from Fred Warner, who I thought was incredible, and he went out for not quite, maybe like half of a quarter, a couple plays or a couple drives. The defense was really hanging on with him out there. Obviously, Robert Saleh, much more creative than Nick Sorensen. He had Marquise Siegel blitzing. He blitzed Upton Stout. Just Bryce Huff looked really good on that defensive line. I felt like Robert Saleh really did a good job, like understanding, okay, maybe this defense hasn't totally meshed yet, but all of these younger guys have their talents, and I'm going to put them in a position to be able to, be fast, be explosive, be aggressive, and as long as they don't make a mistake, it's going to turn out great, and it freaking did. Sorry. I'm so happy Robert Saleh is back. He was the best coach out there tonight. McDonald for the Seahawks defense also did really well. I mean, up until, like I said, the last quarter, the 49ers had 10 points the whole game too. When more talking about the 49ers defense, the Seahawks were only able to run the ball for 3.2 yards per carry. Before the game, they talked about running the Seahawks offensive coordinator really talked about how they were going to try to run the ball down the 49ers' throats. They were going to be aggressive. That did not work. Sam Darnold only threw for 150 yards the entire game. But better than that, he only threw for 110 yards the entire game. And it was only that last drive that he got an additional 40 yards. And that last drive up until the very end, when Nick Bosa made him, freak out and pee his pants a little bit. Hopefully that's okay that I'm saying that once again. Now I'm like all scared because a Seahawks person scared me, but I see 3 people ahead of me and they're all wearing 49ers gear, so I don't think they're going to mind me talking about the 49ers winning. What's up with Seattle? I always have like drunk people when I'm outside Lumen talking with me, but last year my video kind of took off because the guy was like so nice and sweet. This year I couldn't put any of my video in there. Sorry, they were looking at me. Okay. I said Sam Darnold only threw for 150 yards. 41 came on that last drive right before Nick Bosa crushed him. So the 49ers defense were just holding Seahawks offense to nothing. So I went over here, I said pros and cons. Pros, you're 1-0. You needed a win. A win is a win, especially during week 1, especially a divisional game. Week 1, always wonky. Divisional games, always tough. You won that, that's good. Bad thing is, if these patterns continue and it's up against a better team, you're not winning that game. Like I said, the Seahawks didn't do SHIT with all the opportunities they had. There was multiple times that the 49ers either turned the ball over or basically, if you miss a kick and then you give the ball to the other team, that's almost like a turnover. Went into the red zone, walked away with nothing. And that is so reminiscent of last year. So at least they won this year. Christian McCaffrey, let's go over what he did. Incredible, an elite player, but also terrified me. I'm really not trying to be negative, but what the hell was Kyle Shanahan thinking? In the middle of the game, or not the middle, but towards the end of the game, someone said, Christian McCaffrey has 99% of the running touches so far this game. Look at how great he is. And I quote tweeted on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, he does look great, but isn't this concerning? He missed Friday, did not participate because of his calf. Thursday he was limited because of his calf. Last year he had Achilles tendonitis in both of his bilateral Achilles tendonitis, tore his PCL. But this offseason, Ricky Pearsall tore a hamstring, and they took like 2 months to ease him back in. Chris McCaffrey gets injured, and 2 days later they're running him on every single play. Why didn't we see more Brian Robinson? Why didn't we see Isaac Orendo? Jordan James was activated. Why wasn't he in the game? Maybe it's just because, Chris McCaffrey is great, but it's like, okay, you won week 1. Is he going to be healthy for week 2 when you're running him that much? And once again, he played incredibly. It's just like there's nothing about Kyle Shanahan thinks about like preservation and longevity, and to me it shows a lack of creativity, because you should be able to have Christian McCaffrey running the outside zone. He had 9 receptions, catches in the passing game. He did great with that. Get a different running back in there and like split those carries up, especially the ones that you're only getting, a couple yards in between the tackles. Why does Christian McCaffrey need to take that beating at 28 years old with all the injury history he has? So like I said, he did play well. He had 22 carries for 69 yards, LOL, 9 catches for 73 yards, which was great. Total of 31 touches for 142 yards. Like I said, not at all being eased in. Those are incredible stats, but I don't know if you can continue that level of targeting without him getting hurt. So good for Christian McCaffrey, though. I'm impressed by him. Now, 22 carries for 69 yards. It was good. He ran the ball quite well, and it did seem that both defenses, the Seahawks defense and 49ers defense, did well. 22 carries for 69 yards is not necessarily the Chris McCaffrey of old. So I think, and Greg Olsen on the broadcast kind of said, he felt like he could see that Christian McCaffrey was still recovering. Not that he shouldn't be out there, but that he was a little bit slower and didn't have as much burst as he did in 2023. He missed 90% of 2024, then he tore his knee all up and missed the remainder of 2024. I would have been easing him back in, but that's, I'm trying to talk about pros. So he played great. Hopefully he's healthy next week against the Saints. I think the 49ers will beat the Saints kind of no matter what, because the Saints aren't very good. But there's a lot of games left. This is your 1 out of 17. So got to stay healthy, and then hopefully, the idea is that you have Christian McCaffrey healthy for the playoffs. Other pro is Ricky Pearsall. I put Slick Rick, Clutch Slick Rick. Ricky Pearsall did phenomenal on that last scoring drive where Brock Purdy threw, in my opinion, almost an interception to the Seahawks defender, and Jake Tonjes kind of stole it out of the guy's hand and ended up getting the touchdown. The play right before that was a deeper pass downfield to Ricky Pearsall. It also looked like it could have been a deep pass or a risky pass. Some people said it was perfect in the perfect spot, like there was a defender there, but only Ricky could get it. I don't know. I guess it's good that Brock Purdy has a little bit of, Brett Favre to him and takes chances. But sometimes while you're watching it, I was at the field today, but even on TV, seeing it replay, you're like, oh my God, he's throwing it to the defender. But Ricky did great, and Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall were in unison all day today. So that was just amazing to see. We saw that in the there was people. I get so nervous when there's people. We saw that in preseason. We saw that a little bit last year for the final couple of games when Deebo Samuel was out and Ricky was in. If Ricky can stay healthy, I think him and Brock Purdy have a really special connection. And maybe we see that Ricky Pearsall really proves that he should have been that first-round draft pick. Because to this day, he gets a lot of shit for the fact that he's a good receiver, but he's kind of like a receiver 2. Receiver 3, and I think when he has some of those downfield catches, really, incredible in stride, hands out, kind of, you know, striding into the ball, really having to lean and reach for it. That's a you know, late first round talent. So way to go for Ricky Pearsall. I'm happy that he could be, you know, making his mark in Seattle. For defense, I put Renardo Green with 3 exclamation points. Like I said, he had some incredible replay, highlight-worthy plays. Marquise Siegel, same thing. Going into the cons a little bit, and I guess what I put Purdy in both the cons and the pro section for that final drive that was obviously so important and got the 49ers that touchdown that ended up winning the game. Brock Purdy was 6 of 6 for 67 yards, had that huge throw to Ricky and a touchdown. I put kind of some laughing emojis on that touchdown because, like I said, I'm not sure if that last final throw deserves to be in the pro section, but 6 for 6, almost 70 yards. The throw to the downfield throw to Ricky I thought was really good, and to continue to have confidence in himself and in his wide receivers, especially at this point. Fans and I'm sure the players on the field knew that they were going to keep going for it on 4th down. They needed the touchdown. They were not going to try to kick they weren't going to leave it to Jake Moody after his multiple misses this game. So I'm glad that, you know, he was like, okay, I'm going to put it up there. It's either going to get intercepted or it's going to be a touchdown. What I'm not going to do is throw it away and have Jake Moody walk on the field and miss a freaking field goal. So I'd rather have an aggressive quarterback than, you know, a P-U-S-S-S-Y. Did I put 3 S's? Quarterback. You just got to be a little bit smart. His 2 interceptions were really stupid throws, like into triple coverage, straight to the Seahawks defender type throws. But at the same time, I don't know, you know, you give it, you take it. You want that aggression, but you want him to be smart about it. You'd hope that by now you just paid him $50 million, especially, like I said, that final throw on offense could have been, you could have said that that Brock Purdy almost lost the game for the 49ers, and really it was Jake Tondish that, you know, saved the game and saved Brock Purdy's ass. Okay, so cons, Trent looked really bad. Trent Williams, Hall of Famer, obviously, star left tackle. The 49ers should have drafted multiple offensive linemen because the offense in general looked horrible today. But they should have drafted a tackle 2 off seasons ago, the 2023 off season. Everyone said that was going to be a historic tackle draft. Last year, they said there was a lot of guards, offensive guards in the draft. Either way, the 49ers have not really prioritized in free agency, in the draft, getting offensive guards or offensive tackles. Trent Williams looks a step slow. He looks behind. He committed, the team in general committed nine penalties. Trent Williams committed 2 penalties himself. He got away, in my opinion, with some holding. Got Brock Purdy sacked a few times. Like, he was just getting whiffed. To be fair to him, he did leave the game for a little bit, so maybe he was playing through injury. But he came back out. He was in the game, continued to kind of get run over a little bit. Kyle Shanahan was asked about Trent Williams after the game and said that, you know, he came back from the game and he said he was fine, but that they'll be getting MRIs. So I don't really trust anything Kyle says until Monday. Usually he does a call with the media at 3. I'll definitely go live after that and give you guys updated reports on all the injuries because Kyle tries to diminish them right after the game. More on that injury front, the one thing that we did know happened, George Kittle, it was so clear that the 49ers game plan was to target the hell out of Kittle. On their first drive, when they walked down the field and scored, George Kittle ended up getting that touchdown. He was heavily involved in the passing game. I was ecstatic because I was like, this is exactly how you should play football. It was literally run CMC, throw to Ricky, throw to Kittle, throw to Ricky, throw to Kittle, throw to Kittle, run, and then bam, red zone, right to Kittle, touchdown. And then unfortunately, right after that, Kittle leaves the game. They say it's a hamstring injury, and immediately he's ruled out for the whole game. When a player's ruled out that quickly, it kind of, to me, says that the trainers right there can tell how bad it is because most of the time they'll be questionable to return. And it's only when they're ruled out right away, it's like when you have an ACL and they can feel it and they're like, oh, it's gone. Like there's no question that there's something wrong. A bad hamstring injury can take anywhere from a month to multiple months. You know, a slight pull can just take a week or two. They might, you know, depending on how bad it actually is, he might go on IR, which would have him out for a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. That really stinks because with the loss of, you know, Brandon Ayuk, with Deebo Samuel, who looked incredible, by the way, today for the Commanders, why all of a sudden Deebo will play for Adam Peters but won't play well for, or isn't inspired to play well for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch? That's not good. But I definitely figured that George Kittle was going to be a big target this season, especially with all the wide receiver injuries, especially to start the year until, you know, Brandon Ayuk gets back, until Jordan Watkins can play. I thought it was going to be, you know, the George Kittle game, and it looked like it was going to be the George Kittle game. I'm glad they were able to win and kind of during the game modify. We've seen it be like a Deebo Samuel game before or a Chris McCaffrey game before, and if one of those guys goes out, Kyle doesn't know what to do. So I'm glad Kyle was able to adjust on the fly, and the 49ers were still able to win. But I'm really hoping I'm wrong, and the Kittle injury isn't serious, because I do think they're going to need Kittle when, you know, they're facing higher level opponents. Luckily, I don't think the Saints that they're, you know, facing next week are going to be higher level. By the way, I will be in New Orleans. Hopefully there the fans will be less scary and I can actually do this post-game video at the game. If not, maybe I'll do it on my computer and go live because I'll have better service that way. But sorry, I'm still giving slight jabs to Seattle because I couldn't believe how rude some of the fans were. It's never happened to me before, and I've came a couple times now. Okay, so that's Kittle. Then, and by the way, Kyle Shanahan said that the MRI, they'll be doing another MRI tomorrow, and he'll have updates after his 3 p.m. call. Jennings also left the game after, you know, not really participating for the majority of the offseason during his holdout / calf injury, whatever was really going on there. Jennings got hit in the left shoulder, left the game, was getting rubbed on and stuff on the sidelines. The trainer, I could see it from where I was sitting. I heard it was on TV as well. He ended up being ruled out to return a little while later, not nearly as quickly as Kittle, but we don't know, you know, is it a separated shoulder? Is it a torn shoulder? Did it just pop out? We'll have to see and figure that out tomorrow. Kyle also said that Jennings would be getting an MRI on that left shoulder tomorrow. Pooney left for a little bit, but luckily was able to return. Connor Colby stepped in for Pooney a little for, I think, like half a quarter, 2 drives. You know, I don't want to be too hard on him. He's a 7th round rookie, but I was happy that Pooney came back in. The offense in general, though, even with Pooney, even when Trent was there, when they were all there all together, there was one point where there was like 16 dropbacks and Brock Purdy had been pressured on 13 of them. So even with all the starters there, they sucked today. And I don't know if that is a testament to the Seahawks defensive line looking great or to this offensive line being kind of trash. But Pooney came back. Fred Warner, that was the scariest one. I mentioned that earlier. He left, came back. He was asked about it and wouldn't specify what was wrong, but just said, you know, I was spooked a little bit, was in a little pain, shook it off, you know, and came back and was happy to seal the win. So Fred Warner always kind of talks like a politician. I imagine we'll also get more updates from Kyle on him tomorrow. Okay, and then, so that's kind of the injury cons. Then I put Brock Purdy, like I said, I put his last drive in the pro section, but I also put it in the con section. Almost lost the game for the 49ers. Multiple turnovers. That final play was dangerous. 2 interceptions. Gunslinger mentality. I guess you got to live with it, but sometimes his decision making. He had a ball intercepted. Ricky Pearsall was double covered. There was also another, I mean, it was 3 Seahawks defenders, and he decided to throw the ball to Ricky, and it got, I'm filming myself, not you guys, sorry. How do you feel about the game? I see Seahawks people and 49ers people. So, I got nervous. I should have asked them about Jake Moody. How do you feel about Kyle Shanahan saying Jake Moody is definitely going to remain the kicker? Okay, so that's my next con is Jake Moody freaking sucks. Holy shit. He had a block kick. He had a missed kick. He made a kick after that. And then Kyle, I tweeted it during it. I was like, Kyle, just because he made one field goal after missing 2 other kicks does not mean you need to keep him on the team. After the game, reporters asked Kyle, hey, Kyle, what the hell are you going to keep Jake Moody because he almost lost you the game? And he said, there's no question. There's no question that Jake Moody's going to remain the kicker going into New Orleans. Tim Kawakami then asked Kyle Shanahan separately after the press conference, hey, are you sure you're going to keep him? And he said, definitely. There was this viral clip going around on Twitter of Kyle going like, kind of like taking his headset and throwing it off and looking so disgusted and mad after Jake Moody's miss. Kyle cannot blame Jake Moody's misses on anyone but Kyle. At this point, I feel bad for Jake Moody. Jake Moody clearly, there's something in his head. He needs to restart with a different team. The pressure, the amount his teammates probably don't believe in him. Jake Moody clearly doesn't believe in himself. And then Kyle Shanahan keeps sending him out there time after time. And then when he makes a mistake, acts surprised. He said after the preseason game where Jake Moody had, I think he missed 3 kicks. One of them was a field goal. There was a out of bounds kickoff and then an missed extra point against the Raiders. He also missed against the Chargers and the Broncos. But after those performances, Kyle Shanahan said Jake Moody had a great offseason and great preseason. So no, Kyle, you don't get to throw a fit and show Jake Moody up and act like you're so surprised that Jake Moody's performing badly. Everyone knows that you can't trust Jake Moody. You know you can't trust Jake Moody. That's why you kept going for it for 4th down, which I wasn't mad that they were doing, but Kyle is not the type of coach that likes to do that, and he only started doing it after Jake Moody's double miss. So to me, that pissed me off. I don't like either sit there and be delusional and believe in him, and when he misses a kick, sit there and smile and go, yep, I put him out there, or he's not on the flight back with you to Seattle. You're going and getting one of the many kickers on the couch, on practice squads that are better than Jake Moody. Last year, Jake Moody missed significant time. I think there was 3 additional kickers that the 49ers brought in. None of them missed a kick. They literally all did better. It is not hard to find good kickers. They are on the couch. They are on practice squads. They are available to pick up, and the 49ers are refusing to do so. I think because they don't want to look bad for wasting another 3rd-round pick because they've had a lot of bad drafts. Now, this draft that they just had is starting to look good, but when you think about the fact that they could have drafted an offensive lineman where they drafted Jake Moody, you start to understand why they're so desperate for him to work out. Because when Brock Purdy's getting pressured and having to run 10 yards backwards and throw the ball away and he can't score, and you go, well, where's the offense? Why aren't there better offenses? Why don't we have more depth? When Connor Colby is a 7th-round draft pick rookie going in, and you say, hey, why don't we have another draft? Why don't we have some guy who's been in the background working for this opportunity? It's because you have Jake Moody on the team, and the 49ers have not given any high draft picks to offensive linemen in all of Kyle Shanahan's era, aside from Trent Williams, who is, an all-star Hall of Famer, but is very old now and has been injured multiple times for multiple seasons and is, on the back half of his career. My prediction coming away with this, besides the frustration over Jake Moody definitely going to be on the team and his missed kicks, my prediction coming away with this is the 49ers are absolutely going to draft an offensive tackle in this next draft after the season's over. There's no question. It's only been one game. They need offensive line help, and they need a replacement for Trent Williams. And that's not good because Colton McKivitz is probably going to get outpriced. So they need a right guard. They need a backup left guard / a left guard that can end up starting if Trent Williams either A, retires, or B, gets injured and can't go, because we're really noticing a significant drop-off there. Dominic Pooney, I think, is serviceable. I really wanted them to get Drew Dalman. I don't think Brendel's good. Like I said, Brock Purdy, he had some horrendous decisions, but there was a lot of times where defenders were sitting in his lap. And once again, we just saw, I saw Justin Herbert on Friday. The Chiefs' defensive line was really getting in his lap, and he was still making incredible throws. So I'm not trying to make excuses for Brock Purdy, but we know an offensive line helps. Look at how, Sam Darnold couldn't really put up points here, but look at how well he did last year on the Vikings. The Vikings had an incredible offensive line. If you have a quarterback who's not an all-star, who's good but not the best, not Patrick Mahomes, not top 5, you need a good offensive line. And right now the 49ers don't have a great offensive line, but they do have a win. Please let me know your takeaways. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'm taking a plane actually home tonight because I thought I would save some hotel money, but I'm going to go get myself some dinner. I'm wearing red shorts, but I thought the blue, I was like, oh, see, they won't immediately look at me and think 49ers fan, but I was out there with my phone outside Lumen being like, 49ers won, and someone, sorry, I'll stop bringing up the weird drunk crowd, but I've made some videos outside Lumen before, and Seattle has been wonderful. I had a great time here. I actually went out to dinner and got omakase, which I've never had before. Omakase. Hopefully that wasn't racist. Japanese food. Some of it's a little more adventurous than I'm used to, but some of it was fantastic. I went down to Pike's Market, walked all around, got some really fresh fruit, snap peas, carrots, peaches. Why every time you get raspberries, no matter where you get them, by the way, not just at Pike's Place. When I go to Whole Foods in the Bay Area, anything, raspberries always get moldy in like 5 seconds. But the peaches here were fantastic. I got some like gyro, like the little chicken on a stick outside Pike's Market. It was kind of cold yesterday, so I got a golden milk latte. I had a really, really fun time. Walked over, saw the Space Needle, which I saw last time. Went up to Capitol Hill and walked all around there. It was really, really fun. I'll be going live tomorrow when I land and get home. I'll probably be going live after 3 p.m. because I want to give you guys the updates on those injuries. Like I said, Juwan Jennings, shoulder. George Kittle, hamstring. Trent Williams left the game, came back. Dominic Clooney left the game, came back. There was one other guy, right? Oh, Fred Warner. Duh. Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to not think about Fred. He's such an Iron Man that you kind of like take him for granted. Not in the way I obviously am always grateful he's there, but I'm like, he's going to be fine because we need him. So we got to make sure he's fine. I'll be giving you guys those updates. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Really appreciate everyone being here. And I had a wonderful time in Seattle. I know I'm making a little bit big deal of the people outside Lumen, but throughout the whole entire game, I was sitting around a lot of Seahawks fans who were really wonderful to me. So I hope 49er fans who attended the game, you guys had a good time, and Seahawks fans, I don't know what to tell you. Your defense looks okay, but you can't really bet on Sam Darnold, right? Oh, bye.